Welcome to Banff National Park. In this video, I'll be exploring the park and visiting all of its world-famous sites and attractions, as well as some that maybe you haven't even heard of. We'll take a little more time in this video and slow things down just a tad so you can enjoy some of the world-class scenery that you will undoubtedly experience when you visit the park. In this video, we'll explore the town of Banff and all of its sites. We'll then venture north and drive the beautiful Bow Valley Parkway, stopping in at Johnston Canyon and Morants Curve. We'll explore the Lake Louise area and then eventually head north to one of the most spectacular regions in the world, the amazing Icefield Parkway. While the park is well known for the scenic wonders of Lake Louise, Moraine Lake, Peyto Lake, and Bow Lake, the town of Banff has plenty to offer visitors, and frankly, you could spend many days in the town and the immediate area. Here are the main attractions in and around this gorgeous mountain town. The vibrant main street in Banff is Banff Avenue, the road that I'm standing right next to. And this is where you'll find the majority of the shopping, the restaurants, as well as the galleries. However, don't forget to forage just off of Banff Avenue, as there are many other smaller streets with shopping and restaurants as well. Now, in the summer months, the heart of Banff Avenue, this road right here, closes down to traffic and becomes a pedestrian walking mall, and actually is a lovely place to meander during the warmer summer months. And if you need an information center, well, there's a good one right on Banff Avenue. And don't forget that you'll need a Parks Canada Pass to visit the town of Banff. You can buy a Parks Canada Pass online or purchase one at the entry gate when traveling from Calgary. Well, I'm here at the famous Banff town sign that was erected in 2017. Now, this particular sign has become so popular that it's actually a tourist attraction in and of itself. I mean, everybody needs their photo taken by a town sign. The problem is, it's become so popular that it's caused both human and traffic congestion in the area. So the city has a plan. In fact, town officials have said, get it out of here. And they are. They're actually removing the entire sign and relocating it to a secret location. However, it is rumored that that secret location is actually going to be the train station, which is about 1 kilometer from here. Cascade Gardens is a peaceful, beautiful, and scenic spot nestled up by itself at the end of Banff Avenue. The Parks Administration building is also located on the grounds, and the view of the Banff townsite might just be the very best in all of Banff. The gardens are free, there is parking, and they also look incredible in the winter. If you like museums, there is the Banff Park Museum Natural Historic Site, Buffalo Nation's Luxton Museum, the White Museum of the Canadian Rockies, and the beautiful and historic Cave Basin. Cave Basin played an important role in the birth of Canada's national parks. Discovered in 1883 by railway workers, its natural thermal springs attracted early tourism and led to the creation of Banff National Park. You can explore the natural thermal springs inside the cave or walk the boardwalks and trails around the site. The Banff Springs Hotel, often called the Castle in the Rockies, is one of Canada's most iconic and historic hotels. This grand hotel has played a central role in shaping tourism in the Canadian Rockies and remains a symbol of luxury, adventure, and history. The hotel was built in 1888 by the Canadian Pacific Railway and was part of a visionary strategy to attract affluent tourists to the remote beauty of the Canadian Rockies. The hotel was designed in the Scottish baronial style and then later expanded and quickly became a destination in itself. It drew visitors from around the world and helped put Banff on the global map as a premier travel destination. The Banff Springs Hotel is rumored to be haunted, with many famous ghost stories adding to the mystique of this already famous hotel. And room 873 is apparently haunted. But the room no longer exists. In fact, it merged with room 875. So, if you're staying in room 875, sweet dreams. Now, another famous ghost story involves the ghost bride who, on her wedding day, fell down some marble steps to her death. And over the years, staff and guests alike have seen a woman dressed in a white veiled gown, dancing alone in this very ballroom. Now, another famous ghost story involves Sam McCauley, who is a bellman at this hotel and still apparently helps out guests, just in a bit of a more ghostly manner. And if you want to walk the halls with these many ghosts in the hotel, you can. The hotel is open and you're able to walk around at your leisure and have a look and enjoy the many mysteries of this fantastic hotel. If you want the most amazing photo of the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, go to Surprise Corner. The name Surprise Corner comes from the unexpected, awe-inspiring moment that visitors experience as they turn a bend and suddenly see the hotel's majestic silhouette set against the dramatic landscape. So, does Surprise Corner get busy? Yes, it does. Very busy in the summer. So if you can, get there before the tour buses arrive. So 5 or 6 in the morning is a good time in the summer, as hardly anyone is there at that time. Bow Falls is a scenic and easy to get to waterfall located relatively close to downtown Banff and directly below the Banff Springs Hotel. There is a decent amount of parking available on site, but as always, it's best to get there early in the morning before the tour buses. Although Bow Falls isn't all that tall, it's relatively wide, and this creates a dramatic photogenic setting, especially in spring and early summer. There is a paved trail and viewpoints that offer easy access to the falls. If you look closely around Banff, you will see some subtle and sometimes not so subtle Swiss influences. Now, this dates back to the early 1900s when the Canadian Pacific Railway hired Swiss mountain guides to promote mountaineering tourism. They also inspired the architecture of lodges and the development of many of the hiking trails. The Swiss influence was also seen in the development of the local ski resorts, including the chairlifts. Now, this is particularly the case with nearby Mount Norquay. Welcome to the Banff Gondola, which is honestly one of the must-see attractions here in Banff. The gondola is located only about 5 minutes, a 5-minute drive from downtown Banff, and these 4-person gondolas travel nearly 2,300 feet up to the top of Sulphur Mountain. The elevation at the top of Sulphur Mountain is about 7,500 feet above sea level. Now, at the top, there are, as you would expect, 360-degree views of 6 mountain ranges, the town of Banff, and the surrounding valleys. The summit complex is called the Above Banff Interpretive Center and features exhibits on local wildlife, geology, and indigenous history. One of the highlights is the Sulphur Mountain Boardwalk, which is an easy and obviously scenic 1-kilometer walk that leads to the historic Cosmic Ray Station. The summit building also includes 2 dining options, the Sky Bistro and the Northern Lights Alpine Kitchen. And if you want to grab a coffee or hot chocolate, and you might because it can get cold, in fact it just snowed up there, there is the Castle Mountain Coffee Company. The Banff Gondola is open all year round, and it is highly advised that you reserve your tickets well in advance. The Upper Hot Springs on Sulphur Mountain is Canada's highest operating hot spring at about 5,200 feet above sea level. And these mineral-rich waters have long been cherished for their therapeutic properties. And honestly, they did play a pivotal role in establishing the park in 1885. The water temperature hovers between 37 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius, and the views, well, they're pretty special, as you can see Mount Rundle and other mountain peaks while enjoying a warm soak. The Upper Hot Springs is open all year round. And if you're looking for a little bit of culture, the Banff Center for Arts and Creativity is the host to hundreds of different events every year. There are a number of spectacular lakes near to the Banff townsite that are remarkably easy to get to and enjoy, and frankly, some phenomenal mountains that perfectly frame every composition. In the park, the lakes that get all the love are Moraine Lake, Lake Louise, Peyto Lake, and to a lesser extent, Bow Lake. And most certainly, and obviously, for good reason. However, don't discount the lakes near to the Banff townsite, like Vermilion Lakes, Toojack Lake, and Lake Minnewanka. These lakes are gorgeous, very easy to get to, and not nearly as busy as the other, better-known lakes. Lake Minnewanka is yet another one of the breathtaking lakes close to the Banff townsite. The lake is about 5 kilometers northeast of the town and a very easy and beautiful drive. The lake is the park's largest and offers a wide range of recreational activities, including hiking, boat cruises, kayaking, and winter snowshoeing. But this lake, as we know it, is not totally natural. In fact, back in 1941, the construction of a hydroelectric dam raised the water level and submerged the small resort village of Minnewanka Landing, which today draws scuba divers interested in exploring its preserved ruins. But above the water is a spectacular lake, and if you like wildlife, keep your eyes open. I've seen plenty of elk over the years, as well as both black and grizzly bears in the area. Toojack Lake is yet another beautiful lake and is about a 15-minute drive from the town of Banff. The lake is one of my favorites, perhaps my favorite actually, and offers a spectacular view of Mount Rundle and its reflection. The lake is named after two early prospectors, both named Jack. Go figure. And the lake is part of the Lake Minnewanka Reservoir system and shares some of its waters. It's a favorite spot for kayaking, paddleboarding, picnicking, and wildlife watching, and of course, photography. The adjacent Toojack Lakeside and main campgrounds are among the most scenic in the park. You might actually be surprised to hear that the beautiful natural wonder that you see behind me, that is the lake, is not actually natural. In fact, it's a man-made lake and was created when Lake Minnewanka was dammed in 1912 and then later raised in 1941. Vermilion Lakes is a trio of beautiful lakes only about 2.5 kilometers from downtown Banff and very easy to get to. The lakes are nestled in the Bow River Valley at the foot of Mount Norquay, providing stunning reflections of both Mount Rundle as well as Sulphur Mountain. It's particularly incredible at sunrise, by the way. You can enjoy activities like canoeing, kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, as well as hiking. There's also a lot of cycling around the lake as well. The surrounding wetlands are home to diverse wildlife, including elk, mule deer, and lots of different bird species. You can get here by using Vermilion Lakes Drive. Cascade Ponds is a scenic day-use area located just a few minutes from the town of Banff and nestles at the base of Cascade Mountain. The area is easily accessible and is right off of the Trans-Canada Highway. Known for its tranquil waters, picnic spots, beautiful little bridges and islands, and of course, the exquisite mountain views. You'll also find a couple of the Parks Canada famous red chairs right in the middle of Cascade Ponds. Now, if you wander around the park, you may see some red chairs in different locations. Well, there is a story behind these red chairs. The red Adirondack chairs in Banff National Park are part of Parks Canada's Red Chair Experience, launched in 2011 to encourage visitors to connect with nature at scenic viewpoints. And these chairs are crafted from 100% recycled plastic. In Banff, there are 11 red chair locations, and Parks Canada encourages you to share photos, of course they do, on social media. Cascade Mountain is one of Banff's most famous peaks. It is nearly 10,000 feet in height, actually just a hair taller than nearby Mount Rundle. Now, one of the most iconic views of the mountain is from Banff Avenue, as it absolutely dominates the skyline above the town. Now, its name was given by geologist James Hector back in 1858, and it refers to a waterfall on its southern face. The mountain holds cultural significance for the Stoney Nakoda people, who called it Minnehaha, and I hope I pronounced that name correctly, meaning mountain with falling water. Now, not surprisingly, this mountain is a photographic favorite, often featured in postcards and social media for its dramatic backdrop over Banff. Mount Norquay is a prominent mountain and ski resort and a short drive from the town site. The name of the mountain came about in a relatively slightly unorthodox manner. Manitoba's Premier, John Norquay, visited Banff and tried to climb the mountain and failed. So they named the mountain after him in 1904. The first ski run was opened around 1926. Now, I haven't skied here for a very long time, but I do remember it being a fairly steep hill. Now, on the way up to the ski resort, you will find one of Banff's best viewpoints, and it's called the Mount Norquay Green Spot. This is a scenic area that has some of the very best views of Banff. Now, there's not a lot of parking here, so get here early for sunrise or sunset if you can. Sulphur Mountain is a little more than 8,000 feet above sea level and overlooks the town of Banff, as well as the Banff Springs Hotel. The mountain holds significant historical and scientific importance. In 1883, railway workers discovered hot springs on its lower slopes, leading to the establishment of Canada's first national park in 1885. These springs, sacred to Indigenous communities, became central to Banff's early tourism. Now, speaking of tourism, Sulphur Mountain is home to the Sulphur Mountain Hot Springs, the Upper Hot Springs, as well as the Banff Gondola. Tunnel Mountain is a prominent feature within Banff National Park, offering both historical significance as well as accessible outdoor recreation. Now, if you're looking for the tunnel, you won't find it, because despite its name, no tunnel exists. The name actually originated in the 1880s when the Canadian Pacific Railway surveyors considered, but then rejected, plans to bore through the mountain for a rail line. For visitors, the Tunnel Mountain Trail is a popular 4.3-kilometer round-trip hike that leads to panoramic views of Banff and the Bow Valley. The trail offers really good viewing of the hoodoos, which are striking, spire-like rock formations carved by the wind and water over the centuries. And finally, the Tunnel Mountain campgrounds are located, all of them, right in this area. Mount Rundle is one of the most iconic and well-photographed peaks in Banff National Park and is easily recognized by its distinctive sloped profile that stretches nearly 12 kilometers from Banff all the way to Canmore. The mountain is nearly 10,000 feet high and is named after Reverend Robert Rundle, a Methodist missionary who worked with Indigenous communities way back in the 1840s. Mount Rundle is sacred to the Stoney Nakoda people who have long revered the area. While the town of Banff is a wonderful place to start your visit to the park, and it's a pretty convenient hub, there is so much more to see in the rest of the park. The Bow Valley Parkway is a scenic 48-kilometer route between Banff and Lake Louise and offers a more quiet, more nature-focused alternative to the busier Trans-Canada Highway. The Bow Valley Parkway was, in fact, the original road that connected Banff and Lake Louise. The road winds through forested landscapes and along the Bow River, and the parkway provides access to popular spots like Johnston Canyon, Castle Mountain, and Morants Curve. It's also one of the best areas, in fact, I think the best area, to view wildlife in Banff, especially elk, moose, and bears. Now, I visit the Bow Valley Parkway every May because I'm up here every May, and the last 3 years I've seen black bears every visit, including a beautiful young black bear that I saw only about 1 hour ago. If you have a little bit more time to enjoy the drive between Banff and Lake Louise, this road is definitely the way to go. All that being said, there are portions of the roadway that are not always open, so as always, check the Parks Canada website for more information on road closures and conditions. Also, this is a very popular road for cyclists, so watch out for them and travel safe. Some of the most beautiful wildlife in North America can be found right here in the park. In fact, Banff is home to 53 species of mammals, including wolves, cougars, lynx, moose, elk, bighorn sheep, black bears, grizzly bears, bison, over 260 bird species, and even the elusive wolverine. Okay, well, Banff is not exactly known for bison. Grand Teton and Yellowstone National Parks in the States, well, they are, and I see bison herds there almost every time I go. But Banff, surely not. Well, Banff was actually once home to bison. And then in the late 1870s, the park introduced a bison enclosure. This enclosure was removed in 1997, but I actually remember being able to drive around the bison enclosure and occasionally having a glimpse of a bison. Well, after the closure of the enclosure, bison were no longer in Banff. That is, until 2017, when the park introduced 16 free-roaming bison. Now, as of last year, the number of bison in the park is estimated to be around 130 animals. Okay, a quick word about bears. Now, you might visit Banff many dozens of times and never see a bear, or you might visit once and see one. I have actually been fortunate to have seen dozens of bears over the years. I've seen black bears each of the last 3 times I have visited in the month of May, and I saw another one about 1 hour ago. I saw a couple of grizzlies last year too, although that was actually in Jasper, about 100 miles from here. A few years ago, I saw a black bear walk right in front of us while hiking at a place called Grassy Lakes in nearby Canmore. So it's quite possible, if you roam around the park, that you'll actually see one. Therefore, it's really important to know the rules and be smart. If you're far away from your vehicle, carry bear spray and do not hike by yourself. And of course, make noise when you do hike and follow all of the rules that go along with being bear aware. Also, stay far away. Don't bother them. Be prepared and don't be stupid. Speaking of bears, let's talk about Banff's most famous bear, Bear 122, better known as the Boss. Now, this guy is famous for many reasons, including the fact that he has survived being hit by a train. He's also reportedly killed and eaten a black bear. In fact, this happened near the Banff townsite. The Boss is huge, about 650 pounds, and is missing a piece of his right ear. Johnston Canyon is about 25 kilometers from the Banff townsite along the beautiful Bow Valley Parkway. The canyon is a popular hiking area and known for its dramatic limestone canyon, turquoise pools, and picturesque waterfalls. The main trail follows suspended catwalks and beautiful forested paths leading up to the lower falls and upper falls. Now, if you have more time and probably more stamina, you can actually hike all the way up to the Ink Pots, a group of bubbling mineral springs in a quiet and exquisite alpine meadow. All right, I'm here at Johnston Canyon in Banff. I've always believed that Johnston Canyon is highly underrated. It is beautiful. So if you like the outdoors, if you like hiking, it's a pretty easy hike, come to Johnston Canyon. Now, it's May and it's 8 a.m. and it's very quiet, which is unusual because in the summer at 8 a.m. it's already filling up. So get here early. As we leave Johnston Canyon, which isn't easy because it's definitely one of my favorite places in the park, we'll continue to drive up the Bow Valley Parkway. What is fairly apparent almost immediately is the Goliath of a mountain, Castle Mountain. The most prominent mountain along the Bow Valley Parkway undoubtedly is Castle Mountain, which is over 9,000 feet in height and situated between Banff and Lake Louise, and is known, of course, for its fortress-like appearance. It was named in 1858 by geologist James Hector, and then the name was changed with a little bit of controversy to Mount Eisenhower in 1946. And then the name was changed back to Castle Mountain in 1979, although a prominent pinnacle retained the name Eisenhower Tower. Morants Curve is a beautiful bend in the Canadian Pacific Railway line located right here in the Bow Valley Parkway and right adjacent to the Bow River, and it's about 10 minutes from Lake Louise. It is without doubt one of the most photographed scenes in Banff National Park, and it's easy to see why. You have trains winding through the forest with the Bow River in the foreground and the beautiful peaks of the Canadian Rockies in the background. The viewpoint is named after Nicholas Morant, a legendary Canadian Pacific photographer who worked during the mid-20th century. The viewpoint is easily accessible by car with a small parking area and pull-off. We'll now leave Morant's Curve and continue heading north to Lake Louise. If you're driving through the park on the Trans-Canada Highway, you may notice two things. One, the lack of wildlife alongside the highway, which is good for their safety and our safety. And second, the many wildlife bridges over the highway. Well, the first structure was actually built in 1996, and there are a total of 6 overpasses and 38 underpasses, making it the most comprehensive system of its kind in the world. In addition to the over and underpasses, there are 82 kilometers of fencing that guide animals towards safe passageways and prevent them from entering the highway. Lake Louise is about a 30-minute drive north of the Banff townsite and truly an incredible destination all on its own. You will find accommodation and dining in the town of Lake Louise and then up at the lake itself. European explorers and settlers arrived here in Lake Louise in the late 19th century, drawn by the area's stunning landscape. The railway's development played a crucial role in popularizing Lake Louise as a travel destination, making it accessible to wealthy tourists and adventurers. The early 1900s saw the construction of lodges, including the iconic Chateau Lake Louise, which was opened in 1890. Further boosting the area's popularity. The surrounding area became a hub for outdoor recreation with activities such as hiking, canoeing, and then later on, skiing. There's also a fantastic information center in the town that I strongly recommend visiting if you have not been to Lake Louise before or if it's been a while. The visitor center is right in town, not too far from the exit off of the Trans-Canada Highway. Now, if you wish to explore Moraine Lake, Lake Louise, or Lake Agnes, and I'm sure you do because that's probably exactly why you're here, you can just continue up the road from the town to these incredible sites. Well, I have to start by saying this is my favorite place in Banff National Park. It's beautiful year-round, it's accessible year-round, and there's plenty to do when you're here. It also has enough development and infrastructure to satisfy most visitors while not, hopefully, interfering too much with the natural environment. The jewel of Banff National Park is Lake Louise, which is famous for its mesmerizing turquoise waters surrounded by beautiful towering peaks. You can explore the lake by leisurely walking along the shoreline to the Victoria Glacier at the far end of the lake. If you prefer to be on the lake, well, you can canoe around the lake in the summer months or ice skate on the lake in the winter. Of course, if you feel like doing nothing but enjoying the scenery, well, there's no judgment here. The Lake Agnes Tea House, which is up that mountain over there, and of course you'll have to hike up that mountain to get there, and it does tend to be fairly busy in the summer months, and it's only open in the summer, but the view, oh, it's worth the hike. One of the most photographed lakes in the world is not far from Lake Louise, and that is Moraine Lake. Moraine Lake boasts vibrant blue waters and a backdrop of the Valley of the 10 Peaks. The Rock Pile Trail offers a short hike with panoramic views of the lake and surrounding mountains. Now, a couple of words, though, about Moraine Lake. It's not only very popular, but really it's too popular. You can no longer drive to the lake and must take a tour or a shuttle bus to get there. If you're still interested, check the Canada Parks website for details on how you can book your place on the shuttle bus. During the summer months, you can ride the Lake Louise gondola to the top of Mount Whitehorn for panoramic views of the surrounding mountains and Bow Valley. The views are beautiful for sure, but it's also a great way to potentially see bears from a safe distance. Covering 4 mountain faces, the Lake Louise Ski Resort is one of the largest ski resorts in the country and most certainly enjoys some of the most beautiful scenery. Another ski resort, Sunshine Mountain, is not far from Lake Louise and is also very large and incredibly beautiful. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. Thanks. If you're a photographer, well, you will love Banff. From turquoise lakes, soaring mountains, cascading waterfalls, and an abundant supply of wildlife, there's most certainly enough to keep you coming back for many years to come. Now, of course, if you are visiting and you are a photographer, you probably already know some of the world-class locations and go-to places in the park. The best-known photo locations in the park include Moraine Lake, Lake Louise, Vermilion Lakes, Two Jack Lake, Peyto Lake, as well as Bow Lake. Now, to be honest, I love Vermilion Lakes, Two Jack Lake, Cascade Ponds, and Bow Lake the most. Not necessarily because they're better, because maybe they're actually not, but because the crowds are less and they're very easy to get to. Basically, you drive up to these locations early in the morning, almost any time of the year, and start taking photos. The Bow Valley Parkway is a great place to take photos with Johnston Canyon, Castle Mountain, and Morants Curve beautifully showcasing the area. In the town of Banff, you'll find the Banff sign is very popular, probably too popular, Cascade Gardens, and Surprise Corner. All right, I just left Lake Louise, and we're about to enter one of the most exquisite, most beautiful, incredible places that I've seen, and that is the Icefields Parkway. This beautiful section of the Canadian Rockies is one of the most beautiful drives in the world. The entire stretch of this 227-kilometer long Icefield Parkway is connected by Highway 93, aptly named the Icefield Parkway, which is a double-lane highway that winds along the Continental Divide. Yet another one of the gorgeous lakes in the Icefield Parkway and Banff National Park is Bow Lake. This is one of the easiest lakes to get to as the highway travels right alongside the lake. There is a lodge here and a restaurant for dinner. The area offers wonderful hiking, surrounded by, of course, incredible views. Now, when you travel through the park, you will notice that many of the wonderful lakes and rivers have an incredibly vibrant turquoise color. Well, this color comes from rock flour, which is essentially glacial silt, in other words, tiny particles of rock ground up by glaciers and then suspended in the water. The particles scatter light in a way that creates these amazingly vibrant colors. The world-famous Peyto Lake is definitely worth a visit and is easy to get to. I do remember the first time I saw this lake, which was about 45 years ago, and the one thing that stood out then and now is the color. It's a brilliant turquoise blue. The lake is about 40 kilometers north of Lake Louise and offers one of the most spectacular viewing points in all of Canada. And if you look carefully, you can see the lake is shaped somewhat like a wolf. The hike to the lookout takes about 10 minutes or so. The area underwent a massive renovation, improving the infrastructure, including adding more parking, replacing old bathrooms, and adding a new viewing platform. Peyto Lake is named after Bill Peyto, a pioneering mountain guide from England, and eventually the park warden, whose legacy is deeply tied to the early exploration of Banff. Saskatchewan River Crossing is the midway point between the towns of Jasper and Banff. It's also a beautiful location tucked in at the base of the towering Mount Wilson. There's also a hotel here called the Crossing Resort, a restaurant, general store, gas station, and if you're driving an electric vehicle, an EV charging station. And continuing north, we come to the Big Bend. This is a hairpin turn that offers yet more spectacular views of the valley and river. And oh yes, the incredible mountains as well. Another site that is easy to stop off at is the Weeping Wall, which is a set of cliffs which are about 1,000 feet high at the western base of Cirrus Mountain. It looks like the mountains are crying, and hence the name, the Weeping Walls. Bridal Veil Falls is another waterfall that is easily accessible by vehicle. You can view the falls from a designated viewpoint or even hike so close that you can feel the mist in your face. So there you go, the beautiful Banff.